It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interview. Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Throws, ends up, yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome on in. It's another edition of the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, JD Walker hanging out.
Hey, good to be here.
Jason Walker is on his way to call a high school football game.
I'm sure he's going to have a blast tonight. Opening night football in Cache Valley.
Yes, it's here. It always seems like it comes earlier than I anticipate or want. But it's here.
It is. It's ready for high school football, those Friday night lights.
So we'll get into the schedule tonight of who's playing where for our local Region 11 football teams. We'll get through that so you can follow along. At least most of the games you'll be able to follow along. So we'll tell you how to do that, and how to listen, how to watch some of these games, these local games. The Utah State football team, they've got a scrimmage coming up tomorrow. So it's their last scrimmage of camp. So your last chance to see what this team looks like before they open the season against Robert Morris here in a few weeks. We talked about this a little bit yesterday about the Jazz schedule specifically for the NBA, but we'll look also broadly at the NBA. Some of these games of note on the broadcast schedule. We'll look at the Utah State men's basketball team. They're overseas. They're in Europe. They had another game. This one was in Croatia. We'll tell you how they did in that one. And, still a lot of other topics on the table here for the Full Court Press. And if you want to weigh in, if you want to ask a question, steer us in a different direction, feel free. 435-339-0321. In fact, we got a text on the text line just before the show got going. This is from 2444. It says, I have to think this second Aggie basketball win of the European Tour was even more impressive than the first, beating a Croatian top division team by 25. I think the most interesting piece from the box score was Drake Allen's 11 assists. Looks like he's emerging as a top point guard option on the team. Seems that he and Falsliv have good chemistry as well, based on the highlights and their interviews. I like that as a potential starting backcourt with Martinez at small forward. So, yeah, it's we're going to get to that here in a little bit. But Utah State basketball opening up their game in Croatia with 90. Oh gosh, now where did I've got too many. My stack of stuff is too big. But I had the score here. Their release. It was like 90 to 75 or something like that. I didn't think it was a 25-point win, but maybe it was in that neighborhood. 95 to 70. Okay, so I got
that's impressive.
That's impressive. So it's a pretty solid win. But this is the first game of two that they will play in Croatia, not in the same city. So they are in one area, and then they travel a little bit further south to face another team in Croatia. But the results so far, the early returns. This is a very exciting up-and-down basketball team for Utah State.
It is. I love the new hire of the coach, doing some research in him in the back. Blue collar, it seems like it's going to be a really just stable for the program, this new presence there. And after last season, I was over on KLZX, our sister station, talking about Aggie basketball because I caught the fever. And just looking forward to it and seeing them putting up such a strong show in Croatia, which has got to be an experience to go over there as a student athlete to
huge.
do that.
Yeah.
European basketball, I mean, they're just kind of built different out there. So what a cool experience for the game. And they're running it out the door. So could start.
Yeah. Their game in Italy, they won by 50, 60 points. It was absurd. This one was more of a contest, but against higher level of competition. But still, the Utah State men's basketball team taking care of business.
They are.
So we'll get into a little bit more of that here in a little bit. But I wanted to get into opening night of high school football here in Region 11, just to let everybody know like where the teams are, who's playing where, any intrigue to get things started. And for the sake of making things simple, let's start from the north and we'll go to the south. So let's start with the Skyview Bobcats. They're at home. They've got Salem Hills, the Skyhawks in town. Hurricane John Newbold and Rex Davis will be on the call here on the Fan. So we'll turn things over to them at about 6:45 later on this evening. And look, this is going to be the first game for their new head coach, Eric Alder, who is a native son, left to go coach other places, and jumped at the opportunity to come back home to coach in the Cache Valley and especially at his alma mater. So exciting to see what the new era is going to look like at Skyview.
I imagine a lot of pride is going to be there with him returning home and doing that. I love those kind of homecoming stories to build the program, and excited for Skyview football this season. Yeah,
that is, as we've talked about before, Skyview is a program. They don't seem to be at the whim of one or two dynamic players who come through there. Coaches change, players come and go, but Skyview is perennially at or near the top of Region 11. This year will be very interesting. Egbert was there last year, a running back that anytime he touched the ball, it was a big play and he was going to find the end zone. He's graduated. They still have a lot of other solid players there. This will be interesting to see how these new players kind of step into this role and just the new stamp that whatever stamp it is that this new coach puts on the program. So eager to hear and watch how that one plays out. You can watch it on CacheValleyDaily.com or just keep it here on the Fan, and you can hear the full play-by-play with Hurricane John Newbold and Rex Davis. Next, we'll just continue working our way south. Green Canyon, the Green Canyon Wolves, they're on the road tonight, so they are at Hunter. And once again, Stockton Jukes is going to be our play-by-play announcer for Green Canyon this season. New color analyst joining him, Ryan Lawrenson. We've heard Ryan Lawrenson a number of broadcasts, especially in the spring, helping us out with some spring sports. So it'll be Stockton and Ryan working together. This is a Green Canyon team that surprised a lot of teams last year, ran it all the way to the state championship game, eventually kind of ran out of gas, just didn't have enough offense. Always a great defensive squad, but their head coach is known to be an offensive-minded guy. So will this team take that next step this year and be more offensive-minded? But they have to try to do that on the road at Hunter, a team that is in a higher classification. So it's a good early challenge for Green Canyon.
So kind of punching up in their weight class a little bit to refine that, offense and defense on the field for the first game of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. So broadcast, you can hear that on 100.9 Light FM and video coverage on CacheValleyDaily.com. Next, the Logan High Grizzlies. They are also on the road. A lot of these teams, most of them are on the road tonight. Logan is going to be at Hillcrest. And once again, a new head coach trying to figure out what he will look like, what kind of system he's going to bring, and what that team, how they're going to respond with a new direction.
I really like the new head coach coming into Logan. I space his name at the moment, but here's my experience. Coach Butts. I have two teenagers in Logan right now. I have had two teenagers that have graduated. I have a baseball player that played, and the coach quit on senior night. I'm looking at the posts and the things going on and hearing from my son's friends about this new coach that there's a different vibe there. I saw the decals with dads the other night where they were putting the decals on the helmets out at the stadium. So I really feel like this is a real fresh start for that Logan football program.
That's great. That's what they need. Unfortunately, there's just been way too much turnover, sadly, at a variety of sports, as you've indicated, and others. So really what we're all hoping for is that there's some patience there with administration or even with the coaching staff and family and supporters, boosters, to try to get some stability there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so the first chance to see how it's going to go will be played out tonight. Now, as Jason and I talked about earlier this week when we went through and gave our preseason predictions, this is a Logan team that's going to be very young. They're really leaning in on their youth movement here. So there's going to be some bumps in the road this season with that youth. Just they may not be physically be able to match some of the other teams that they face. But great opportunities to learn and at least get an idea of what they're going to look like and what they're trying to implement on the field.
That youth hopefully will carry over from season to season, and by the time they're juniors and seniors, they're going to be gritty, and they're going to have been beat up by the older boys, the bigger boys. Then they're going to be the big boys in Logan, and hopefully we see some shining stuff coming through there.
Yeah, absolutely. Great way to learn and to learn the hard way, but to develop and to get great experience against quality competition. So Logan High will once again be called by our good friend Jason Walker. Josh Anderson is joining him on his football broadcasts as they are going to be down at Hillcrest tonight. And the radio coverage will be on KVNU. It's 102.1 FM, 610 AM, and video streaming on CashValleyDaily.com. Across the hill in Bear River, the Bears are going to be on the road to open up their season. They're going to be at Cedar Valley, and it's down at Eagle Mountain, going down to Utah County. And Trampus Waits in his third season, continuing to try to improve his team and what they have going on. Unfortunately, due to a variety of different events that we've been trying our hardest to solve and resolve, we will not be able to have a broadcast of that game. I don't want to get into details. Don't need to throw certain Cedar Valley officials under the bus, even though it needs to drive over them a couple times.
You're like, bus, I'm sitting in a tank or bulldozer or something.
Yeah, unfortunately, they were not accommodating in any way, and so it's just going to be really it's just not going to be possible for us, unfortunately, to produce a broadcast this evening for Bear River. It's not just Cedar Valley officials that have made it difficult for us to pull that off. So, needless to say, we will be keeping an eye on it. We'll try to give you updates on our other broadcasts the best that we can, but Bear River opening their season on the road at Cedar Valley. And it's going to be a minute before the local fans get to see them at home, because the following week they're up in Burley.
Oh, jeez.
So they're making a trip north. But nonetheless, exciting to see what can happen with this Bear River team that could be an interesting middle of the pack, but still threaten to be disruptive for those that are at the top. So it could be a very interesting season for Bear River. Let's go to Ridgeline, team that is home. Besides Skyview, this is the only other team in Region 11, at least up here, that's home. And the Riverhawks hosting the Bonneville Lakers. And this is a very deep, very talented Ridgeline team. And so tonight will be a way to, it's an interesting thing here is, how crisp are they? We know they're going to be good, but just how crisp are they going to be? How do they allow Bonneville to stay close to them?
It could be that early season kind of getting, working everything out, or maybe looking past a little bit. It could be one of those, hiccup things, but it's quite an experience there watching them play. It's one of the best experiences. I plan this season to bounce around to each high school to kind of get the full effect, and I've been there watching it. It's a great experience. I think they're probably going to come out sharp this year. Yeah,
I'd imagine that they will. They've proven to have solid coaching, very talented players. Could threaten to certainly be not just the odds-on favorite to win Region 11, but should be among the top teams to watch for in 4A classification for high school football.
Yeah, I believe that too. Their facilities, I want to mention that, are really awesome for high school sports here. Some of the best I've seen around their track, their football, everything. It seems like the administration, everything there pushed into their sports programs, and that kind of helps all the way to the top. So really could be an exciting season for them.
So Ridgeline, if those who want to follow the Riverhawks, those games will be broadcast on radio at 104.5 The Ranch. Dave Simmons on the call. A bit of a change here. His color analyst that we've traditionally heard, Nick Zollinger, he's actually on the coaching staff for the football team this year, so he's unavailable for football games, and we're going to have a father-son duo on our broadcasts. Dave's son, Stratford, will be joining him as his color analyst. Strat, he played at Ridgeline. He was a great wide receiver, good defensive back. And so he is going to be joining Dave on these broadcasts. And so we'll get to see this game tonight on CashValleyDaily.com or listen to it on 104.5 The Ranch.
I think that father-son duo, what a cool moment for that broadcast team to be able to do that. And for the broadcaster to step out of the booth and say, hey, I'm going to go down to the sideline and put my input in. That's a pretty cool situation, I guess.
There you go. Last stop here on our kind of trip through Region 11, at least the teams up here. I got to find a way to separate Region 11 and Westfield because there's a new school that's part of the region, but it's down in Weber County. So suffice it to say, whenever I refer to Region 11, I'm referring to our traditional 6 schools that have been here together for a long time, and I'm just kind of leaving them out for a minute. But Mountain Crest Mustangs, they're on the road. They have the furthest travel of anybody. They are down at Hurricane, down in southern Utah, taking on the Tigers. We didn't send our normal broadcast crew down there, but we do have some friends in southern Utah who are going to produce the game for us.
Nice.
So there's still a way to watch the game on CashValleyDaily.com, and it'll be broadcast on 107.7 KLZX.
I love my station getting in there, throwing out some stuff for college football or for high school football. And I just want to say real quick, this Cache Valley Daily, the way that high school sports is broadcast here through Cache Valley Media, I've been around the block when it comes to radio. I've been in places that have done stuff. It is cool to have all of it right there. I remember bouncing around when the high school basketball was like the playoffs of who was in, who was out. I was jumping around from stream to stream, and all the announcers, it was top shelf. I'm telling you what, we really are spoiled with our high school coverage here in Cache Valley.
Well, it's not easy. It takes a lot of work behind the scenes, but it is something that we are committed to doing and to do it at a high level. And you're right. When you look around the landscape of broadcasting around the country, it's extremely rare to see so many schools covered on a designated station the way that we've found a way to do here at the Cache Valley Media Group. And I don't say that just to pat myself on the back or toot our own horn. It's just that it's extremely rare. What we've been able to do for these schools, but we do it because there's so much passion about our local high schools, and we really appreciate those who recognize that and support that and make that possible. The businesses that are sponsors of these broadcasts, because it's technically it's not always easy. There's a huge expense to do it, but we do it because we know people love to follow local sports and local athletes.
And we have a quality group of cover guys and play-by-play and analysis that do these high school games that you're not going to really find anywhere else in the country. Like even in Texas, where their high school stadiums are bigger than Jerry's World in Dallas, like they don't have the coverage that's here. So moving here and experiencing this coverage, I am all hooked on high school football again.
Yeah, it always seems to creep up faster than I'm ready for it, but it's here. And so we've got all the games covered. By the way, just as a note, just so those who may be curious, if you're hearing our signal in the northern reaches of Weber County, Westfield is at Layton to begin their inaugural season for the Longhorns of Westfield.
Hey, it's the start of something good for a football program down there. They've probably been waiting for it. Kids excited to play to get out there on the field. And, even the NFL, acknowledges the Seahawks that are all the way up there in Alaska. So,
That's right. The first time anybody around here is going to see Westfield is on September 6th when they come to play Green Canyon. And the first time any other Region 11 team faces makes the trip to their field will be September 13th, the following week, when Logan goes down there to face Westfield. So that's our rundown of high school football for tonight. Game links information is already available on CashValleyDaily.com with ways to follow along and to watch most of these games. And once the games are over, say you want to go to the Ridgeline game, but you're curious how the Green Canyon game turned out, when you get home, you can pull it up on Cache Valley Daily and watch the replay. So, or watch the game you were just at and watch it again. I know people do.
Yeah, so many options to check out the streaming at CacheValleyDaily.net.
So, lots of options. High school football is here. We're excited about that. Now, we know games in Idaho don't start yet. They'll be starting soon. So our friends at Westside and Preston and Malad, they've still got a little bit of time before their seasons get going. But for those in Utah, tonight's the night. High school football, Friday Night Lights, underway. All right, we're going to take a timeout here in the Full Court Press. When we come back, let's keep talking football, shall we?
Sounds good. Yeah, sounds
We're
good.
going to continue counting down the top 25 Aggies for 2024, and we're up to number 7 on our list. We'll reveal who that is next here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat and the Allergy Clinic now have an office located inside the Miller Medical Building in Tremonton. An additional office open every Friday. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat is the 2024 Best of Northern Utah Gold winner for ear, nose, and throat medical offices and is now located in North Logan, Providence, and Tremonton. Schedule your appointment for an office near you. Go to CacheValleyENT.com. That's CacheValleyENT.com for details. Most insurance products, including Select Med, are accepted.
The patio is open. The chips are endless. Drinks on tap. You know it's got to be Cafe Sabor, Cache Valley's best Mexican restaurant, gold winner in the Best of Northern Utah contest. Experience Locals Day every Thursday with a huge burrito, endless chips and soda, only $7.95. That's a complete lunch for just $7.95. Finding any lunch under $10 is nearly impossible. Every Thursday, drinks, chips, and massive burrito, just $7.95. The patio, the sun, the fun at Cafe Sabor in the historic train station on 6th Weston Center in Logan.
This is Chris Andreessen from Bank of Utah. Thank you for voting us Best Bank in Northern Utah for the 3rd year in a row. Bank of Utah is honored to have earned your trust and your business. As a branch manager, I've had the privilege of helping the Cache Valley community with anything from securing a mortgage, financing your child's education, or helping your business grow. Come see us in Logan and Providence, and thanks again for voting us your best bank. Bank of Utah, member FDIC, NMLS 422914.
For more than a century, couples have shopped at S.C. Needham Jewelers. Known for a large selection of beautiful diamonds, we now have both natural and lab-grown diamonds. You are sure to find a diamond engagement ring that will fit your budget. The possibilities today are endless as you select the perfect ring. Show her you'll cherish her forever with a diamond, either natural or lab-grown, from the store where Utah gets engaged. S.C. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
Ready to embark on the adventure of a lifetime? Look no further than Bull Moose RV, your premier destination for travel trailers and motorhomes. Picture yourself cruising down the open road with the freedom to explore the great outdoors. If you're looking for quality time together or seeking new horizons, they have the perfect RV for you. Bull Moose RV offers unbeatable deals so you can save big while creating unforgettable memories. Stop in today or go online to bullmooseRV.com. Bull Moose RV, your ticket to freedom.
The Aggies, the Jazz, the high schools, the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, JD Walker, 435-339-0321. If you want to be a part of the program, we just ran through the schedule for Region 11 football. If you want to find out about these games, watch the games, or find out where you can listen to these games, all the details are at CacheValleyDaily.com. Just go to the sports section and it'll all be there. But let's pause from high school football and turn our attention to college football. And we continue to count down the top 25 Aggies for 2024. And we try to do this around 4:25. And, JD, we're going to hit it right on the money.
It's a Friday, man. Winner, chicken dinner.
It's a very rare thing that we actually hit this right on the time when we say we will. So here it is, number 7 on our list for top 25 Aggies of 2024.
The Cache Valley Media Group's countdown of the top 25 Aggies of 2024 continues today with the reveal of the number 7 Utah State football player. He's a tight end, wears number 87 and stands 6'4". It's Broc Lane. In 2023, after 3 seasons of injuries holding him back, Broc has had his most productive year, catching 21 passes for 208 yards and a touchdown. He showed up in 2 of USU's toughest games, catching 5 passes for 40 yards against Air Force and reeling in 4 catches for 47 yards against Fresno State. The number 7 player in the top 25 Aggies of 2024, Broc Lane.
Broc Lane is anchoring a very experienced tight end room for Utah State. A guy that came with some hype and some excitement as a quality pass-catching tight end. Got derailed because of an injury and really missed the 2021 season. Started to see a little bit more of him in 2022 and still had some injuries that he was fighting through, but played a larger role last season. And excited to see him continue to grow and improve and help the offense this season. And, man, when you've got some new quarterbacks in there, not inexperienced, but new quarterbacks, you want to know that you've got people you can turn to in a tight situation. And when you've got a good pass blocking but also pass catching tight end, it's a great combination for either Spencer Petras or Bryson Barnes if necessary.
I think the tight end position and Broc are the security blanket for a quarterback in the system. Things don't go right, you want that guy with the sure hands that's not going to let you down, that's going to catch it. Big target there over the middle. Also impressive on the student athlete, Mountain West Scholar athlete, academic All-Mountain West, 2020, 2022, 2023. I think it's a big thing to keep things stable on that offensive line that's right next to him.
Right,
and
true.
Also, if the new quarterback gets into a jam and he's looking for somebody to bail him out, old 87 right there, I think that's the security blanket for him.
Yeah, 6'4", 245 pounds, who he can be an extension of the offensive line or he can be that big target. And look, Spencer Petras and Bryson Barnes, both of these guys came from programs that had dynamic tight ends that they could throw to. So it's great that the Utah State has that, either from Broc Lane or Josh Sturzer, who we featured earlier in our top 25. But Broc Lane is a little bit more dynamic in that pass-catching sense and can really help this offense move and help that offense in a variety of different ways. And so that's why he makes it into our top 10 and highly rated in our list. And again, this was voted on by a number of us here in the Cache Valley Media Group who follow the Utah State Aggies. There was also a fan vote, and that poll accounted as one ballot, if you will. He was listed as high as 4.
Wow.
In the fan ballot. He was listed as 11, 10, 10, and 15 in some of the other ballots. But regardless, he's a lot of people have a lot of respect for Broc Lane and what he can do for Utah State football, and he comes in at number 7 on our list.
Looking at the stat sheet too, he had a tackle against Boise State, and I went back and looked at the high school stuff. He once had 14 receptions and then 14 tackles on the defense. So this is a football player. If the team gets into an unfortunate or maybe unlucky situation with a turnover,
yes.
he's not going to just bury his head. He's going to go hunting. So that's a football player for me.
Very true. Yeah. So Broc Lane's great. Loved covering him and watching him play and contribute. But he's one of several very good tight ends to help this Utah State football team this season. And this is an exciting chance to see this team on Saturday at noon. Now, gates open at 11, and so folks can go in a little bit early. There are going to be bounce houses. There will be concessions. There will be autograph opportunities after the scrimmage. So go check out Broc Lane and the other Aggies on Saturday afternoon.
I'm already going to go with my son, Jeremy, and you just said there's going to be a bounce house there. If you see somebody with a big red beard in the bounce house, that's going to be me enjoying my time up there at the scrimmage.
There you go. Very good. Some other Aggie news, as was mentioned earlier in the show from 2444. Just circling back on this, Utah State men's basketball, they're on this foreign tour. They were in Italy earlier in the week. They got to go to Rome. They saw the Colosseum. They went to Florence. I mean, this has been an amazing trip for these guys. But this morning they were in Split, Croatia, and they took on KK Castella Ribola of the Croatian Prva Liga First Division. That's a mouthful.
Hat tip for the pronunciation there.
But they won the game 95-70, and 4 different Aggies in double figures. Ian Martinez leading the way with 13. And that's interesting. Your leading scorer, you scored 95 points on your opponent, and your leading scorer is 13. So that tells you there's a lot of different guys who can score and contribute. It doesn't have to be one big dog who's going to go out there and get a bunch of the points, and there's a lot of supporting cast. This further illustrates what we've been saying and observing about this team is that there are a lot of guys who can chip in, who can score, who can help this team.
Coach Calhoun shared in an article, said, we got a very, very deep team that any guys can step up any night. But what really stood out to me, Eric, on this is he says, guys are sharing the ball and they're making the right reads. We can continue to get better on both sides of the ball. It shows me that there's an emphasis on distributing the ball this year and getting it in the hands of the right read, and that they're working on execution here earlier. And then I know we were talking about this a little bit, but they beat the Italian team by 60 points. Is that what I'm reading right here?
Clobbered them.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, it's a serious beatdown. Now there's some question about the level of competition that they had. It probably wasn't really that good, but glorified high school team. But this this was a higher division, more organized team in Croatia that they faced. And so doing it with a lot of offense, but solid defense too, only allowing 70 points, and getting contributions from a lot of guys. Dexter Ocano, Tucker Anderson, Isaac Johnson, they all had 11 points each. Abin Gadarazzi, he had 10 points. Drake Allen with 11 assists. Mason Falslove had 5. So this is they were actually trailing in the first quarter.
I just saw that, yeah.
They were down 20-15, and then they really dialed it in and turned it on and ended up going the rest of the way, beating this Croatian team 80-50 and shooting 38% from 3, which is the other thing that we are kind of excited about is there are a lot of guys on this team who can shoot. And as Coach Calhoun told us last week, they all have the green light to shoot. Wow. And he is, look, you miss a shot, it's okay. You'll get it next time. There's not like, hey, you shouldn't do that. Don't take that shot again. That's not your place. It's not that at all. It's hey, let's build you up. Let's gain your confidence and let's go light it up.
To me, that's a recipe to, like, if somebody's got a hot hand, man, that player's feeling it that night. He's going to go for it because he's got Calhoun behind him saying, you know what, you got a green light. Let's go do it. Let's play this game. Yeah,
so these are exciting things to hear. Still hard to exactly gauge the level of competition, but these are, regardless of that, this is about this team playing together, having fun, gaining confidence, learning a new system, doing it against somebody else, not each other, and then accelerating their development and growth under this new coach. So they will play another game coming up on Sunday. This will be in Dubrovnik, Croatia, where this game will take place. They're actually playing a team from Montenegro who will come over to play them because it's on the border. And that's a KK Podgorica, maybe. Anyway, it's a top squad in Montenegro's first league, Prva A Liga. So we'll see how that goes. That'll be early Sunday morning for us, like 2:30 our time. And we'll wait to find out from Utah State how it goes.
Yeah, when the sun comes up that day.
Yes. Needless to say, good showing continuing for Utah State men's basketball. Speaking of good showings, it's a good showing for Utah State women's soccer, who open up their season against Pepperdine in Hawai'i, taking care of business, beating them 4-0.
Yeah, decisively.
This was a team that was really good in the West Coast Conference. And this was a tournament team. This is a team that's picked to be a very solid team again. and the Aggies took it to them.
They did. Caught the fever for the Lady Aggies soccer team last season. That run was magical. It was so much fun to watch. Just really a team that the energy that they put off, I really enjoy following them. So watching them 4-0 over Pepperdine in Honolulu. They're over there in like an invitational. Got to be a great way to kind of warm up the season for the Lady Aggies. I am hoping for huge things for them.
Yeah, we were previewing this game about this is a team that has a lot of defense coming back, a lot of experience on the defense, but what about its offense? Will they be able to put pressure on opposing teams, get shots on goal, get them into the net? And they absolutely did that in the opener. Can they continue that? Was that a fluke? We'll find out when they play Hawai'i later on this weekend. And so they have the 2 games in Hawai'i. They come home with their home opener against Texas Tech later next week. But exciting to see Utah State soccer off to a very strong start.
That's the ladies' first shutout win in a season opener since 2017. So that's hopefully a good sign of things to come.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to take another time out here in the Full Court Press. When we come back, let's shift a little bit to the NBA. We talked about this yesterday with the Utah Jazz, but looking at the overall NBA schedule, any games of note that stand out? One NBA player already upset about one specific game that isn't happening. We'll tell you what his reaction is and others of note next here on the Full Court Press.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. I'd like to invite you to learn more about us. Since 1997, we've been Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment. What sets us apart at Alpine Home Medical is the superior level of customer service. We provide home oxygen, CPAPs, wheelchairs, scooters, breast pumps, and so much more. Come on down and get to know us.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit alpinehomemedical.com.
Nothing better than a great song from 1976. Hi, this is Bob Larson with LSS Insurance, and I'm talking to you, graduating class of 76. Even if you're still working or getting ready to retire, Medicare is a conversation we need to have. Let us help you understand Medicare and all your options. Don't rely on TV ads or annoying phone calls. Having a local agent makes all the difference. Call LSS at 752-9493. Call 752-9493.
Hot summer months means hot summer deals on Makita at Industrial Tool and Supply. Deals on Makita outdoor power equipment like chainsaws, blowers, and string trimmers, only $139. Makita XRMO speaker, $49. 18-volt 5-amp batteries at $89. While there, check out Industrial Tool and Supply's month-long clearance sale on dead stock and slow movers. Don't miss out. Head to Industrial Tool and Supply in Logan today and grab the best deals now before they're gone. Industrial Tool and Supply, Logan.
Wonder is timeless. Discovery is everlasting. And exploration is never-ending. At Loveland Living Planet Aquarium, we cherish the unforgettable memories you've shared with us for the past 25 years. Thank you for being a part of our story. Visit livingplanetaquarium.org to embark on a new adventure and continue our journey together.
Saturday on the Las Vegas Raiders Radio Network, 2 historic franchises square off in the preseason as the Raiders host the Dallas Cowboys. Hi, this is Tim Case. Join us as Max Crosby and the Raiders take on Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. It's week 2 of the preseason from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Raiders, Cowboys. If it's the NFL, it's right here.
Pregame begins Saturday night at 7:30 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
Following the local teams, it's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
That's Eric Frandsen and JD Walker today.
Yeah, Jason's long-lost step-cousin.
That's right. You guys are brothers?
As long as he doesn't touch my drum set, we're okay.
Yeah, there we go. 435-339-0321 if you want to chime in. We got high school football starting tonight. We've talked about the Utah State men's basketball team doing well in Croatia. Utah State women's soccer doing well in Hawaii. officially getting the Utah State athletic season underway. But also here recently, the NBA revealed their full schedule for all the teams. And yesterday we talked about the Jazz schedule, which will begin on October 23rd against Memphis at home in Salt Lake City. But when you look at the broader NBA schedule, there are some interesting notes, interesting games to maybe pay attention to, just because some of them feature finals rematches, notable stars going against each other, notable rookies squaring off. There, as I kind of teased going to the break, there is one player that's upset with his team's schedule, and that's Trae Young with the Atlanta Hawks. And he is upset that the Hawks do not play on Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
It's actually better that the Hawks don't play on Martin Luther King Jr. Day because of his defense. They probably would lose. So, I mean, it's not like you really want to schedule a primetime game, but I don't think Mr. Young understands the depth of what goes into an NBA schedule. You know, dealing with your own team and then other teams' schedules, but also the schedule of your building. Are you sharing that building with another, franchise? Is there Taylor Swift coming in for 2 weeks to take over your world? There's so much stuff to do. So I'm sorry he doesn't get to play. Maybe a pickup game at the local Y or something.
Yeah, earlier this morning, he posted, MLK, disappointed in y'all, NBA. I'm sorry, Atlanta. So, weird. This was in response to the NBA announcing its nationally televised games.
Yeah.
And so I need to double check to see if Atlanta itself as a team, I got to double check that. If they don't play, if he's upset because they don't get a national TV game on Martin Luther King Day, that's okay. Well, that's because Atlanta is a bad team.
Yeah, and his defense isn't that great. But I saw this over at Sports Illustrated. It says the games that every team has that is nationally broadcast. Now, this is kind of horrible because there's two categories. One with national games, including NBA TV, so you have to have a subscription to NBA TV, and with not. So Atlanta, if you don't have the NBA TV package, only has two primetime games that'll be on ESPN, ABC, or TNT. So the chance that one of those two games fell on one of the days in the 365-day calendar we have, I mean, it's a long shot to get you game when you want. So
yeah, that's right. So, you know what, Trae Young, whatever, it's just because you didn't get a national TV game, well, be better. Be a more compelling team. be a better franchise. So, yeah, it's goofy. But there are some other games that are of note and kind of interesting. Speaking of the Hawks, they've got an interesting one against the Wizards. Now, that doesn't sound too exciting on face value, but that's on October 28th and 30th, and that's when the top draft picks face each other. So that's when we see the first look at it's really kind of a back-to-back, so to speak, where these top drafted players, are they NBA ready? Are they going to be presumptive rookies of the year or what? How well do they look NBA ready?
I believe Sarr is the guy's name, the number one overall pick. I think he went down to the Wizards, and he's kind of that Wembanyama, but a little bit smaller and maybe more of a power forward, small forward kind of thing, but really long. The kid that went to Atlanta, I think he's going to be great. And in fact, when they drafted him, the next sentence was, and Trae Young's probably available to acquire. So I know the Lakers have been talking about picking him up. The Lakers pick up every bad contract you could possibly get. So, I think it's going to be a good matchup. I think the kid from France, he doesn't have as much hype as Victor, but I really like watching him play, and I think he's very talented. Alexander Sarr.
Yeah, Sarr. Yeah, there was some concern about was he truly NBA ready, because he did not really look very good in the summer league, and so more time to develop. We'll see, but does it? Zachary Ritzikar? I don't know how to pronounce his name.
I just call him Zach.
Zach, yeah, I like that. Is the other player to watch. So that's if you're looking for the rookies, for the new players, then and how they may perform or what they may look like, that's your first chance. And it's one of those where it's kind of a back-to-back kind of situation. There's going to be a day in between, but they will be in the same location on 2 different nights.
One of the ones I pulled up, October 22nd, the Knicks at Celtics. Kind of cool that we have a Game 7 of the final Eastern Conference Finals, that we have that rematch kind of there so early in the season. The Celtics, obviously the champs. The Knicks didn't sit on their own thing. They brought all those Villanova boys in. They've got the squad back together, and they're going to be a very formidable force out there. I think the Knicks are going to elevate what they did last season, and they're going to make the Celtics repeat hopes probably a lot more rough and physical than I imagine the Celtics would like it.
Yeah,
so
that'll be interesting. New York had chances to steal it. By the way, speaking of New York, they host Atlanta on January 20th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So it's not like they don't have a game. He's just upset that it's not nationally broadcast.
So he's mad he doesn't get to sleep in his own bed that day.
I'm sorry, Trae Young. You do not dictate a national broadcast. The games that will be nationally broadcast on that day, it'll be Dallas and Charlotte, which, okay, Charlotte's not good either.
But Dallas is the
ticket. Then it'll be Minnesota and Memphis. So the Dallas-Charlotte game, that'll be on the NBA TV at noon Eastern, so 10 a.m. our time. Then Minnesota and Memphis, that'll be at 2:30 Eastern on TNT, with Boston and Golden State as a nightcap at 5 o'clock Eastern, also on TNT.
That's a good night of basketball, and I can see why Atlanta may not have gotten a home game.
Yeah.
I've got another one up here. I really like Chet Holmgren from the Thunder. And October 30th, Wembanyama, Holmgren go back against each other again. Everybody thought Wembanyama was going to run away with the Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
Holmgren coming back from that injury made it a race. And so October 30th, Spurs heading to Oklahoma City, and we get to watch Vic and Chet go battle. The future of the NBA right there.
Yes, that's true. And they have been produced some pretty fun matchups. The NBA has released what they're calling Rivals Week. And they've got some national broadcasts to follow along with this from January 21st through the 25th. So they try to focus in with the way they've built the schedule on highlighting some rivalries. So on Tuesday, the 21st, it will be the Knicks and the Nets. So they share a city. 76ers versus the Nuggets. So that's Embiid versus Jokic.
Nice.
Could be interesting. Then on the 22nd, it'll be Minnesota versus Dallas. That was a pretty saucy playoffs.
Oh yeah.
So Minnesota, they were the favored team, and they got punked on that one.
Anthony Edwards is the future of the game. He is insane on the court to watch. He is amazing.
And will he get support? Then the later game that night will be Golden State versus Sacramento. Those two franchises are not located very far from each other, so there's a geographical rivalry there. On January 23rd, Miami versus Milwaukee. Okay, I guess they've had some playoff series that have been interesting. Boston versus L.A., very historic rivalry, though I don't know what the Lakers are going to even look like this year.
We're getting our AARP cards as fans of the Lakers this year.
On the 24th, it'll be New Orleans versus Memphis. Again, those two franchises geographically kind of close to each other. And then Saturday the 25th,
the big one,
Denver versus Minnesota, Boston versus Dallas, LA versus Golden State. That is a great, fun lineup. Games on ABC all day long
in January.
On January 25th.
That's a day to just stay inside and silence the cell phone a little bit. Don't get interrupted on that one.
Yes. The other notable is Christmas Day. NBA loves to highlight Christmas Day. They try to own that as their day. The NFL owns Thanksgiving, and so the NBA tries to own Christmas. And so it's a full slate of games between ESPN and ABC starting at 10 a.m. So open up the presents, get your breakfast. You're starting to maybe get a little bit of a food coma at that point. But it'll open up with San Antonio and the Knicks.
Nice.
Then it's Minnesota versus Dallas. So they're continuing to hype up that
Dallas.
that rivalry.
That's going to be a roughhousing on Christmas Day.
Yes.
The police always shows up to the family get-together on that one.
Philadelphia versus Boston.
Nah, that's a good matchup.
Lakers versus Golden State.
Steph Curry versus LeBron.
Again. And then the nightcap will be Denver versus Phoenix. That one will be really interesting to me. Phoenix is really trying to come out of obscurity a little bit and be better. And they've been a little bit overlooked. But it kind of depends on the health of Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. But two guys that had great Olympic experience together, how well does that translate into this upcoming season?
I heard Booker was the low-key MVP of the team, like making the things that needed to be done were done. Like he did it. Like he was willing to take a backseat to, the Mount Rushmore of NBA basketball and make it happen. So my opinion's kind of a villain. I get the thing, but now I kind of see, all right, he's got that. I see why Phoenix fans are so passionate about him.
So those are some of the notable games on the NBA roster or NBA schedule. Any others that stood out to you, JD?
I was cruising through. There is just a couple. Klay Thompson, the Mavericks, going back to Golden State on November 12th. So he was with them for 13 years.
Yes.
That's just really kind of strange to see. It's like seeing Klay Thompson in that Mavs jersey.
That will be weird.
In there. The Rockets and the Grizzlies on October 25th. Ja Morant's back. It'll be interesting to see how he does, how they make some noise. And I really feel like the Rockets have all this talent. Like they've got a bunch of winning lottery tickets, but they just haven't taken them to cash them in yet. Like they're not. There's something stopping them.
Yeah, they have some talented players, but they're not like, okay, you were a first-round pick. Like you're a dude. Like you're a decent player, but the team hasn't coalesced around that yet and started to be legitimate in the NBA.
And they have amazing talent, but it's like they just can't gel. So it's like Houston and that poor kid that went to the Wizards, Sarr. I'd say the New York Jets are where quarterbacks go to die. Like their careers, if you're drafted there, it's horrible unless your name's Namath. Right. It's the same way with the Wizards. Like they bring up all these prospects, they're good, and then that development may not be there for the franchise.
All right, got to take another time out here in the Full Court Press. Lots more to go here, and love to hear from you as well. 435-339-0321.
Hey, Cache Valley, this is Mark at the Sportsman in downtown Logan. We have a bike sale going on right now that you don't want to miss. All bikes from Cannondale, Da Vinci, Marin, and the Electric Bike Company are on sale at huge discounts. If you want an electric bike or a simple mountain bike for commuting to work or school, now is the time to buy. You won't find better prices on bikes than right now at the Sportsman. If you want something a little different, check out our Super 73 e-bikes. It's our huge bike sale going on right now through Labor Day, only at the Sportsman on Main Street in downtown Logan.
Who do you turn to if you want to change out your wood or pellet stove? Advanced Fireplace and Stove. They were voted the gold medalist for Best of Northern Utah for the 4th year in a row in the fireplace retrofit category. Be ready when the government's next wood and pellet replacement incentives pop up. Advanced Fireplace can help you navigate the paperwork. For more information, call Advanced Fireplace and Stove, 752-7272. Online at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. Life is good. Life at My Mattress is good too. Why might I say that? Because today is a good day to slay a Goliath. The other day I went into a mattress store here in Logan that has 2,500 stores across the country. I'd say that's a Goliath. We were 20% less expensive on every bed that we both offer. We may not have 2,500 stores, but we are number 1 in Cache Valley. Better product and better prices. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress.
The Aggies are number 1 here. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
You work hard and you expect your oil to work hard as well and do its job. So you can count on the oil you buy at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores. And if you need hydraulic hoses, they can even put them together for you while you're there in the store. So go check it out. Preston to Providence, that's Napa Auto Parts. So the fall is football season, right? We just ran through the whole schedule for high schools. and they're starting. We got the college football starting here in very short time. NFL preseason's already underway. There's been this pretty strong debate here recently online about if someone in your family or close friend circle gets married in the fall, do you go? If it's on a weekend when it's your favorite team's going to play.
If it was my partner, my spouse that asked me to marry her, that's a no-brainer right out the door. But family members, it's always that clueless, cousin Karen that decides to schedule it during rivalry week or championship week or maybe the bowl game. So, maybe send a nice gift. RSV not.
Yes, it was for me. My anniversary is right in the middle of March Madness. And my wife likes to remind people, like, my husband must really love me because he agreed to be married during March Madness.
That's true love right there.
Yes. While I'm standing there shaking everybody's hands, all the grooms and the bridesmaids and all the best man, they're all somewhere else watching these games. And I had to have them keep giving me updates. But
you're tossing bouquets and they're tossing brackets.
Yes, there you go. I love it. All right, coming up next on the Full Court Press, next hour, we'll get into Utah State football. They have their scrimmage on Saturday. So what are we looking for? Any players specifically? And Utah State classified as the most unlucky team in all of college football?
Yep.
We'll get into that and see if their luck can change this upcoming season. Stick around. And also some potential hints as to what the Utah Hockey Club might look like next year. That's next on the Full Court Press.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Due to the sheer size and power of the NCAA, there's this illusion of order and compliance. When in reality, the NCAA more resembles the Wild Wild West. So why is that? Well, if we have to make a list, we'd be here all day. But some of the main reasons: the organization's inability to hand down swift punishment. The most recent example is Jim Harbaugh. During his 9 years at Michigan, the coach was involved in plenty of disputes with the NCAA. But when you look at the penalties that were handed down, hard to say it wasn't worth a national championship. Harbaugh was suspended for 3 games last season, and after being accused of unethical conduct, the NCAA handed down a 4-year show cause order for the head coach. A major blow for Michigan, if the former head coach was still there. This is just another classic all bark, no bite punishment by the NCAA. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Recently, the show and I were introduced to the coolest walkie-talkies, Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios, instant push-to-talk devices that provide clear contact nationwide on an LTE network.